Alright, so we're going to look at the Pyromaniac combo deck. So for our early game, we'd really like to find Pyro and Imp Factory. And we probably don't need Burn this early. It's always good to keep a source of AoE, which this is 2 sources, and a gold. The thing I'm debating is whether or not to keep the Amulet of Fire, but I'm going to keep it just to have a turn 1 play since we're going first. And we ended up finding 2 Pyromaniacs, so that's kind of perfect. Now I really just need to find an Imp Factory. So the goal behind the deck, Pyro, when it dies, you get an emblem that says for the rest of the game, whenever you play a demon, deal a damage to your opponent. And the important thing being they stack. So if you get 2 or 3 or more of these killed off, then every time you play a demon, you do 2, 3, 4 damage to the opponent, which is very strong. The caveat being at the end of any of your turns, if you don't have a demon in play, you lose the emblem. So we do have to be careful when we play these. Could play both of them now, but I only have 1 demon in hand, which is the concerning thing, right? Because if they kill that off, then the following turn I lose these. So I think it may be better to play it slow. I'm only staring down 1 damage right now, which isn't super intimidating, so I'm just going to play another amulet and pass. Okay, so they got an opportunistic imp down. That's a little intimidating, but we have ways to deal with that. So we've taken 2, but they've taken 1, which is good. Okay, so we can Lesser Fire Demon, activate it twice. That would require our gold. We could Armageddon, which would also require our gold. Or we just put a Pyro down with the intention of Lesser Fire Demoning next turn. That might be the play. Let's just play a Pyro. We're taking kind of a slow approach here. We haven't found our Imp Factory yet. Imp Factory is another curse, and it lets us pay 2 as many times as we want during our turn to summon a 1/1 Imp, which is a demon. So that's kind of our big enabler for Pyro. So we'd like to find that before we commit to too many Pyro emblems, just because it's a way to make sure we always gain demons during our turn, right? Which is very important. Okay, so this is becoming a problem. Oh, and we found another Pyro, which is very, very strong. We have to get a demon down, though. So I think we can... It's the right play here. So you can Lesser Fire Demon. You can't activate it the 3rd time, though. I think you Lesser Fire Demon. See, there's our point of burn from the Pyro. We activate it twice. That gets his opportunistic imp down to 1 health. But we keep a demon on board so we don't lose the Pyro, because we're ready to stack 3 of them, which is very powerful. We just need a little bit more time. And we have Armageddon as kind of our Hail Mary, because we're gonna take some damage here. Okay. This next turn is very dependent on what we draw here. We might lose this first Pyro emblem because we need to deal with this board, or we're in trouble. Oh man, that's a draw. Okay, so I think we Armageddon, get rid of their board. And then I think we gold into another Pyro. With this dealing 6 damage, that would put them to 2, which means we only need a way to deal 2 more damage to them. But they also run a lot of burn, so yeah, they could play something that deals 6 to us pretty easily. Thankfully they didn't there. Another Armageddon isn't really what we want to see. So I think we Pyro Breath of the Void. So we deal damage to them, and we get a couple blockers down. There's 7. So a single demon plus this is enough burn to take the game. Oh, they put us to 2. Okay, so we need to kill them during our turn. Oh, they can activate that. Oh, they didn't activate it. Okay. Okay, good. So we block that. I think we block it with the Pyro. Okay. We need a single point of damage here. Imp Factory, is that enough? Oh, I don't think we have the mana. Okay, I think we have to Armageddon, swing, and hope they don't have a source of burn. As long as they don't have a source of burn, we have several ways to kill them next turn. Beelzebub's Inferno being the obvious one. They have a source of burn. We lose. Okay. 4 mana. Don't have it. Okay. Okay, cool. They buffed their imp, but that's fine. Cool, that was a close one. Okay. Yeah, so I think we just... Okay, so we could play this, summon 2 imps, and oh yeah, let's do this for style points, just to show the combo. Okay, so now each imp we summon is going to do 2 damage to the opponent. So we summon this guy, there's 2. Summon another one, there's 2. So that puts them to 0. Alright, so that's how the Pyro works at a high level. You are constantly trying to control the board, deal a little bit of chip damage, burn damage, and then you want to set up Pyro plus Imp Factory for kind of that inevitability burn finish. So for our upgrades, Breath of the Void will now deal 2 damage to enemy creatures for every demon we control. That's very strong. Demon Fire goes down to 2, also very strong. Pyro going down to 1, we actually don't use as much because the big thing with Pyro is his end of turn effect, where if you don't have a demon in play, you lose him. So oftentimes you don't want to get him in play much earlier. Really, you tend to, even when you have 2 mana, hold him because you want to have Imp Factory or some guaranteed source for demons prior to getting him in play, just in case he gets killed off. I think we will do the Breath of the Void. It's a good upgrade. Alright, so here's the Pyro deck that I just played in the video. I've actually been using this one for a few days now, so it's gone under a couple of upgrades. Our Beelzebub's Inferno's been upgraded, Breath of the Void's been upgraded. Let's see, I've added 2 additional copies of Pyro, so I've got 5 copies of that, making that more consistent. And then I'm down to a single life, so I've lost 2 games with the deck. So I've got to add 2 treasures, so I added Armageddon, which is just another way to clear the opponent's board, and gold, which gives us access to additional mana. So that's kind of the upgrades and modifications I've made to the deck so far in this run. But let's talk about the base deck and the overall strategy. So the main goal behind this deck is to set up the combination of Pyromaniac, who, when he dies, you gain an emblem. Every time you play a demon, it deals 1 damage to the opponent, and these stack. So you want to get a few of those killed off. So every time you play a demon, it does a couple damage directly to your opponent, and then you want to get a Imp Factory in play. And that way you can pay 2 mana as many times as you want during your turn, and summon 1/1 imps, or if it's been upgraded, you'll summon 3/3s. But the important thing is every time one of them gets summoned, Pyro gets triggered, and you just start dealing inevitable burn damage to your opponent. They have to clear your board. If they don't, then you can attack and kill them. If they do, then you can just resummon imps and do more burn damage. So that's kind of the combo we're building towards. And then the early to mid game while we build towards that is all about control, and then just doing additional chip damage, additional burn damage to them to get their life low. So when you play that combo out, it's easy to finish them off. So Amulet of Fire is a good instance of this. I think I have this upgraded in the run as well, but it's a relic. It's got a countdown of 5 in the upgraded or non-upgraded form, and 3 in the upgraded form. And once the countdown completes, it gets destroyed, and it deals 4 damage to the opponent. So that's some early burn you can kind of set up. It's inevitable, in a handful of turns, we're going to deal 4 damage. You get a couple of these down, and you know you're going to chip away a decent chunk of your opponent's life total while you set up your combo, right? Another burn card we run is Beelzebub's Inferno. It's a little expensive for the cost initially, but if you can roll it in an upgrade, which we were able to, 4 mana for 6 damage is kind of insane. So very good source of burn. Let's see. Some of our control tools, Mutilate. This is another one that you really want to roll in an upgrade early. When it goes down to 3 mana, it's insane. It deals damage to every creature, so yours and your opponent's, based on your current sanity level. So it's AoE that's really strong in the early game, and then as time goes on, it becomes less effective. Once you get to like 4 or less sanity, you start, this won't necessarily clear the board, but early to mid game, it will clear almost any board, and early to mid game is when we care about this, because in the late game, we're just trying to run our combo to finish them off. Rip Out the Heart. This is in case they go tall, right, and they have one large creature you need to deal with, or a couple, because you can have multiple copies of these, right? So 4 cost or 2 cost if it's upgraded, just destroy any opposing creature. So good source of removal, targeted removal. Demon Fire, another good source of burn. 4 mana, deal 4 damage. Again, when it gets upgraded, it's kind of insane. 2 mana, deal 4 damage. Same with Ember's Ignite. 2 mana, deal 2 damage, or 0 mana, deal 2 damage, which is really cool. So that's kind of the burn cards you can run. I think I run Demon Fire and Beelzebub's Inferno in this one. I think I'm not running Ember's Ignite, and that's just because we ran out of space. And then you have just like some utility demons that you want in the deck. So Lesser Fire Demon, it's a good source of early removal, especially if you're facing down an aggressive deck like Spiders or the Abyssal deck. You need a way to deal with their early game plays, so you have time to set up your combo. Breath of the Void, very similar. Deals 1 damage to all enemy creatures for each demon you control. So the idea being you want at least 1 other demon on the board. 2 is great, and then you can deal 3 damage only to all of your opponent's creatures, so you get to keep yours, which is just very good for 4 mana. And when he's upgraded, he's very powerful, right? You do 2 for every demon you control. So if you have him and 2 other demons when you play him, that's 6 damage to all of your opponent's creatures, which clears most boards. And then Beelzebub the Deceiver. He will deal 1 damage to your opponent for each demon you control. This includes him. And then if he's upgraded, he deals 2. So if he's upgraded and you have a full board of demons, when you play him, he deals 10, which is half of your opponent's starting life total, which is very strong. And there's a handful of other demons you can test with, each of which kind of unlocks different strategies for the early and mid game. Obliterator's a good one. Once he's upgraded, he destroys a random enemy creature on summon, and he's a demon, which is very strong. The non-upgraded version, you have to control 2 other demons when you summon him, which can be a harder thing to do in the early game, but it all depends on how you build it. But yeah, so there's a lot of different demon options. There's a couple really good burn options, and then some good control stuff while you build towards your late game inevitability. And that's the Pyro Combo Deck.